Sydney drivers could be tolled in both directions as they cross the Harbour Bridge if the New South Wales government accepts the recommendations of a review of the city's toll network. The government has called out privatisation as the reason motorists face such high costs as it seeks to negotiate with toll operators.
Handing down a final report into Sydney's toll network, Professor Alan Fells warns it's time for reform.
Sydney tolls are too high, too unfair, and an ever-increasing burden on motorists.
The New South Wales government commissioned the independent review after promising to make tolls more efficient and equitable at the last election. The review recommends uniform tolling across the network, including two-way tolling on the harbour crossings and Eastern Distributor, with additional revenue gained put back into lowering other tolls.
It is fair to ask everyone to contribute to solving this problem.
What the government is seeking to do is to reduce tolls by introducing a new toll.
Declining distance-based tolling to take the burden off largely Western Sydney commuters, additional infrastructure charges for parts of toll roads that have been costly to build, and the creation of a state-owned body called New South Wales Motorways to enable the government to have more control.
For more than a decade, we saw privatisation after privatisation of Sydney's key arterial roadways.
Private company Transurban operates 11 of Sydney's 13 toll roads under separate concessions awarded by the government, each road with a unique fare structure. The CEO says we are committed to working with the government on potential reforms that build upon the independent review to improve customer outcomes and protect the $36 billion that concessionaires have invested in the state's motorways. The government has made it clear contracts will be honoured and that its preferred pathway to reform is working with concessionaires to find a solution.
I think the tone of this report is quite different to the interim one. It recognises that actually negotiation is possible.
While the government hopes to reach an in-principle agreement with concessionaires led by Transurban by the end of the year, it's also open to pursuing legislation that would give the state more control over tolls at the same time.
We are not fully convinced that an agreement will be possible, and for that reason and others, there needs to be backup legislation to enable the government to determine prices and revenue adjustments.
Sydney residents are estimated to pay $195 billion in nominal terms for tolls by 2060. Julia Bradley, Sky News, Sydney.